Russia is the biggest country in the world. She is constantly in the news, impacting the life of all Europe and the whole world, even if negatively. She's been on the map of global politics for centuries. Nevertheless, most people outside of Russia have little to no understanding about what is actually going on there. Here's 5 main things I bet most of you didn't know about Russia. Knowing these will expand your horizons and open your mind to have some idea about the complexity and diversity of that ancient country. Number 1. The large part of the population is Muslim. Everybody knows that Russia is the Orthodox Christian majority country. However, few people outside of Russia have an idea about the religious diversity of the Russian population. The brightest example is Islam. According to different censuses, there are from 10 to 16% of Muslims living in the country. For the reference, there are just 1.4% Muslims in the US, 5 to 6% in the UK, or 0.4% in Finland. Muslims are also very different, yet we can roughly indicate 3 groups. First, there are big regions with the traditional Muslim majority that are a part of Russia since the 16th century: Tatarstan and Bashkortostan. Islam there is like Orthodox Christianity among Russians. It's mostly a cultural tradition and a part of a national identity, although of course there are some groups and individuals who are very devoted. Second, there are North Caucasian republics where Muslims are generally much more actively practicing, even to the point of fundamentalist tendencies. Some of these regions, like Chechen Republic, have been very independent and rebellious since at least the 18th century. In the Soviet time, they were in turn harshly persecuted and deported to the cold regions. Third, there is a huge number of working migrants from the ex-Soviet republics of Central Asia: Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, and so on. Some of them have already obtained the Russian citizenship, some are the second generation already. They are a very significant group in big cities like Moscow and St. Petersburg. Number 2. There are lots of different Christian churches in Russia. Although Russia is an Orthodox Christian majority country, there are actually many active, socially impactful, and quite numerous Christian communities. Some old churches like Catholics and Lutherans are not so big, and up until the post-Soviet wave of religious conversions, they mostly consisted of people with a foreign background: Polish, Lithuanian, Finnish, Estonian, German, and so on. The biggest Christian minorities are Baptists and Pentecostals. There are no precise numbers on them, as well as all believers, because a significant part of them refused to register for various historical and theological reasons. Number 3. Russians are ethnically diverse. There are 2 translations of the word Russian into the Russian language. First, Ruski stands for the language, ethnicity, and culture. Second, Российский or Россиянин refers to the country, nationality, or citizenship. When it comes to ethnicities, Russia is inhabited by a huge number of different peoples, different cultures, different religions, and even different racial backgrounds. Most peoples of the Russian north are Asian. Can you guess what is the second largest ethnicity in Russia? According to different censuses, Ukrainians used to be the second or the third group after Tatars. The last census of 2021, which is highly criticized, puts Ukrainians on the 8th place among the ethnicities in Russia. Since the ethnic identity is no longer in Russian internal passports, like it used to be in the Soviet time, and most censuses are based on the self-identification, we can safely assume that a huge part of people with a Ukrainian or a mixed identity prefers not to disclose it and claims they are Russian. Number 4. Russia has no border on the west. After the full-scale invasion into Ukraine, Russia captured some territories and in 2023 claimed them as a part of Russia. However, all those regions are not fully occupied by Russia. In most of them there is still fighting, and the front line constantly changes in both directions. Consequently, although Russia has officially recognized the conquered lands as her new regions, there is no formally established western border. Some of the towns, for instance Kherson, were liberated by the Ukrainian forces, but Russia still claims it as Russian. Hence, Russia is a country without an officially established western border. Number 5. The cult of war. As I have already discussed on my channel, Orthodox Christianity is mostly a part of a cultural and national identity. Most people are formal believers, quite passive and ignorant about Orthodox theology and ecclesiology. When it comes to a real cult-like following, sacredness and devotion, the victory in the Great Patriotic War is much more powerful. The period from the German invasion in 1941 until the Victory Day in 1945 is considered the Holy War. All the symbols, memories and memorials of that war are considered sacred. This cult is actively supported and enforced by the state in the media, education and politics. This narrative is the basis for the political ideology, even when it comes to the war in Ukraine and anti-West rhetorics. The Ukrainian state and military are referred to as Nazis. The West is convicted of attempting to revisit the victories of the Second World War by the Soviet Union, and the political power uses the almost 80-year-old glory to legitimize itself. Please like the video, leave a comment and subscribe to the channel. I see you all next time.